Welcome. Today's story is called Swedish Ink, and it's a long story. It'll take a while. I hope you can make it through. It's inspired by a tattoo artist who has done several tattoos for me. She used to live in Sweden, so I wrote this story for her. Swedish Ink. In Malmö, the Hells Angels sucked up dirty money like an old mop. No business was safe, especially if it involved flesh, drugs, alcohol, anything with an engine, and even that coffee shop off the Regementsgatan. The Hells Angels had even targeted the local high school, roughing up the principal for cash and young pussy. New to town, having visited her sister in Malmö and wanting to stay a while, Lorca Vandiver, fresh out of the bitter cold of Minneapolis and into an even more sinister cold, put her money into opening a tattoo parlor on the Gustav Rydbergsgatan. She was a lovely 32, had been tatting since she was 18, and had a little boy named Jay and a little girl nicknamed Cat. Short and wiry with forearms of steel, Lorca didn't bother with bullshit and saw things mainly her way. She kept her dark hair long with bangs that gave her a killer look. As a business owner, she could stay in Sweden as long as she wanted. Lorca spent 2 weeks redecorating, padding her space with 3 tattoo stations and a waiting area where clients could wait on 2 leather couches. The inside was plain, painted off-white, and seemed perfectly square. There was a popular restaurant just 2 doors down the block, and so Lorca called her place 2 Doors Down Tattoo. She had made the acquaintance of the tattoo community on a trip the previous summer to visit her sister and had brought in 2 artists, one from Malmö named Jürgen and one from Copenhagen named Theodore. They both had local connections and would draw business to the shop, a pretty tight deal for Lorca. Lorca parked her small Ford on the street and walked to the shop, passing a car that had been burned in the early morning hours. Gang violence was up in Malmö, especially with an influx of Arab refugees into the 3rd largest city in Sweden. An 8-kilometer bridge over the frigid waters of the Öresund connected the city to Copenhagen, bringing in their rabble-rousers as well. Dressed in tight black jeans, a punk t-shirt, and a red down vest, Lorca felt cold in the just above freezing weather. Before she turned the key in the lock, she looked up to gaze at a baby blue sky whipped high above with cirrus clouds. It was noon on a Sunday, and the shop would be busy with appointments and walk-ins. The heat was on, and that was good. She had had to battle with the authorities to get gas. The previous tenant, who had operated a massage parlor, had left unpaid bills for 3 months. She flipped on the blinking tattoo sign and hustled to see if any new appointments had shown up online. Even though tattoos fetched 3 times the amount in the U.S., the shop did brisk business. She was already considering hiring another artist. Her first appointment of the day was a young guy getting a 10-inch band around his waist, which was taking several sessions. The task was mind-numbing, no design or flair involved, but she enjoyed the tedium of creating a solid swath of black on skin. The phone rang, and it was her boyfriend, Nils. He liked to hang out at the shop on weekends and translate for Lorca, keeping an eye on things. Malmö was a beautiful city, but things could get dicey. Just down the road was Hog Himmel, another tattoo shop, the official shop of the Hells Angels. The upstairs served as an office and meeting room. Most of the tats there were either bloody skulls, nude women, lots of red and white, and surprisingly, butterflies dressed in leather and with big teeth. Isaac was the full-patch leader of activities in Malmo and the surrounding area. Unlike most of the beefy members with beards, he was tall, had a shaved head, and sported a handlebar mustache. He dressed in all leather with a large death's head on the back of his jacket. He had been in plenty of scrapes with the law and viewed outsiders with disgust. A little meeting was underway between Isaac and the two new recruits known as hang-arounds. They were both looking to become associates and eager for whatever it would take. Vincent was just plain fat, his belly hanging like a watermelon, although he had marks of intelligence in his blue eyes. Axel was hefty, short, and had broad shoulders. He had a sharp laugh that annoyed most everyone, including his mother. Isaac sat them down with a can of Omnipollo stout and laid out the day's activities. They would first visit the local television station and leave flyers, proclaiming Malmo as the personal property of the Hells Angels. Next, they would visit a certain tattoo parlor on the Gustav Rydbergsgatan, run by some skinny American bitch. Who the fuck was she to come into Malmo and set up shop as competition? Isaac said they would either chase her out of town or take 70% of the profits. The choice would be hers. Lorca prepped her station for the first appointment, laying out her clean gun, black organic ink, and a 25 curved magnum shading needle. She walked around the shop with the dust rag. The health department required rigorous cleanliness in addition to training in CPR, first aid, and infection control. All of the various certificates were displayed on the wall behind the counter, along with a photo of Lorca's tattoo idol, Sailor Jerry, smoking his pipe. In came Jürgen and Fyodor, having spent the morning imbibing in aquavit, looking haggard. Jürgen was just an average guy with brown hair that his girlfriend cut. He was dressed in jeans and a green sweater with LSD on the front. Fyodor was a bit more lively with a cherubic face and soft down of fuzz with bright red cheeks. He wore baggy jeans, jailhouse style, and a t-shirt with the Pantera logo. Tattoo artists have to wear cool shirts. "You guys been drinking already?" said Lorca. She looked miffed. Jürgen laughed. "Ha, to kill the pain, my dear." "The pain that is here," said Fyodor, pointing to his heart. A woman in her 30s entered the shop and seemed lost. "Well, sober up. Make some coffee. You can't tattoo drunk, for God's sake," said Lorca. "See who this lady is." "Oh, she is mine, the 1:00, said Jürgen. He greeted the woman who was fitted in a red dress and a black trench coat. He explained to her that he needed 10 minutes to get ready and to have a seat. By 1:15, all three were busy with their clients. One after another, new people entered, and then somebody had to stop what they were doing and explain that the day was booked and could they make an appointment. Most spoke English. Lorca always froze when she met someone who could not speak English, Swedish being difficult. Lorca had made 2 passes around her client's belly, doing 1-inch bands, one on top of the other. Her wrist and back ached from the odd position she had to hold. The guy was skinny, almost emaciated, so it wasn't so far around. She talked with him as she worked. "So your girlfriend is a sword swallower," said Lorca. Full-sleeve tattoos peeked out at her wrists. The guy laughed. "Yes, and of course she breathes fire, mostly at the park. The Pildammsparken. She was arrested for performing at the university without a permit." "Shit," said Lorca, "that's fucked up. She's just spreading joy. You doing okay?" The gentle hum of the tattoo gun mesmerized her. She glanced at Jürgen and Fyodor bent over their work. peaceful feeling washed over her, knowing that she had done the right thing in moving to Sweden. Leaving the TV station, having been escorted out by a guard, Vincent and Axel donned their helmets, which looked distinctly Nazi, and roared their prized Harleys to life. Axel took off first, followed by Vincent. They headed west down the Stora Varvsgatan, keeping their eyes straight ahead. They had to look cool and collected. Soon they were on the right street. They both pulled their choppers onto the sidewalk, drawing concerned looks from passers-by. Vincent scouted the street for police. He scratched his heavy belly. Even though it was cold, he only wore a t-shirt and a leather vest. Axel put his hands to the window and peered inside the tattoo shop. Vincent and Axel entered, rolling their shoulders and licking their lips. They whispered to one another, reassuring themselves of what they were to say. All three of the artists looked up. Lorca smelled trouble. "Excuse me for a minute," she said. She walked that way. "Can I help you?" She looked tiny standing near them. "Speak our language," said Vincent in Swedish with a definite sneer. Neither he nor Axel spoke English. "Huh," said Lorca. "Hey, Jürgen, come and help." Jürgen had stopped his work on a sugar skull. He sensed conflict right away after glancing through the large plate glass window and seeing the bikes. He stood beside Lorca. How may we help you? Tattoos?" said Jürgen. His legs shook. Vincent, thinking himself the brains, spoke. "Why, you have put your shop so close to the only real shop in Malmö." "Oh," and Jürgen translated for Lorca. Lorca smirked. She had no idea about the Hells Angels. "It's a free country, right?" Jürgen relayed the message. Vincent stared at Lorca. "Nothing is free. You are insulting the Hells Angels with your presence. You will have to pay or leave." He looked to Axel for support, who muttered. Lorca looked fierce. "The hell? What do you think you are? Hells Angels, my ass. Get out of here before I call the cops." She leaned her narrow shoulders forward. Jürgen cringed. He knew this was serious and that the police feared the Hells Angels. Knowing they had to succeed to rise in the organization, Jürgen grew angry at this bird of a woman. "From this day, we take 70% of your proceeds. Otherwise, you will close the door and go back to your own goddamn country." The delay of translation frustrated Lorca. "Ha! You're crazy, motherfucker. Get out." She moved forward and shoved Vincent in the chest. He didn't budge and his eyes grew wide. "No, Lorca, please," said Jürgen. One of the reasons he had come to her shop was the Hells Angels taking over his previous shop. "Get the fuck out," said Lorca. She could smell the alcohol on their breath. Jürgen did not translate. Axel came to life. He stepped forward, his wide shoulders supporting hairy arms the size of sewer pipes. "Bitch, you will die. You have been warned." He looked to Vincent for approval, and they laughed. "Lorca," said Jürgen, "just now, agree, and maybe something will work out. Maybe they will forget us. They want us to be afraid." "Oh, really? Afraid? I'm not afraid." And she turned to her station and opened the lower drawer of her supply cabinet. She withdrew a curved dagger with a silver-plated handle that held a large fake ruby. She withdrew the sheath as she walked back. Jürgen was by now shaking from head to foot. Fyodor had stopped tattooing, watching the drama. A customer, a young man with a mohawk, entered, surveyed the situation, and left. Vincent and Axel exchanged looks. Was she going to stab them? They each had large pocket knives, but nothing like the dagger. Vincent coughed and spat on the floor. You are a fucking fool, bitch. I'll fucking stab your ass, said Lorca, holding the dagger out, challenging them to come closer. Vincent seethed. Axel looked dumbfounded. With a hitch of his thumb, Vincent indicated that they should leave, and they did. On his way out, Axel turned. Crazy bitch, you will die. What did he say? Said Lorca. Her tan skin was flush with the excitement. The sound of Harley's cranking vibrated the window. Nothing, said Jurgen. We're doomed. He returned to his client, who looked stunned. It is the way of Malmo, said Fyodor. Yes, we're doomed. He took a deep breath. So, those motherfuckers are from the pawn shop down the street? From the tattoo shop down the street? The Happy Pig, or whatever it's called? The biker place? Jurgen said yes, but there is nothing we can do. Oh, why always me? I'm fucking going down there, motherfucker. Lorca shoved on her down vest and gripped the dagger. When Vincent and Axel returned to Hog Himmel, the shop was busy with bikers getting inked. The shop employed 6 artists, all members of the club. Inside smelled like wet leather and chain grease. Paintings of nude women graced the walls. Between them, they agreed not to tell the real story as it was too embarrassing. They found Isaac sitting at his desk, looking at a map. So how did it go? Said Isaac. He made an X on the map. He touched his mustache as if it weren't there. Vincent spoke. Yeah, great. We threw the flyers into the halls at the station and then made our acquaintance with the American bitch. So does she go or will she pay? She will pay. Yes, she will pay. I will go back personally and bring the money. I gave to her 2 weeks. Not bad, said Isaac. I expected more resistance, but she is a dumb bitch for invading our country. Yes, dumb bitch, said Axel. He squared his shoulders. Someone had run up the steps and stopped in the doorway with a grin on his bearded face. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation downstairs. Some cunt with a knife. He laughed. Come and see. The 3 stood looking at one another, then Isaac led the way. He could hear shouting. Entering the hall of booths, he walked to the front room and saw a woman in her 30s wielding a large dagger. She was shouting, and he could understand. One of the artists, Goran, was arguing with her. The tattoo guys in their booths kept working, listening with interest. What is this? Said Isaac in English. Who is this clown? Immediately, Lorca turned toward him. Who's the goddamn boss in this place? Vincent and Axel hung back, looking ashamed but alarmed. Me, I suppose. What do you want? And put that knife away. I'll fucking stab you, motherfucker, trying to close my shop and extort money. Isaac figured out who she was pretty quick. Oh, I see. Well, you made a mistake, my dear, and now you will pay. Did you not agree to pay when my men visited earlier? What? Hell no, and I won't. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. You'll have to kill me first. I'll fucking knife you right here. There were tornadoes in her eyes. She moved forward, the dagger in front of her. Shit and fuck, said Isaac. He turned and locked eyes with Vincent. You motherfucking liar. You will pay. We may be the Hell's Angels, but we don't lie. Vincent hung his head, and Axel did the same. Now they would have to kill someone to be accepted, and it might as well be this American bitch. Isaac took a step closer. Lick. Take a breath. Admit that you made a mistake and then take the consequences, that's all. It's easy. We'll look after you, I promise. On my deathbed, said Lorca. She let the dagger drop to her side. Well then, we have a standoff, said Isaac, and the strongest will win. Do you really want trouble? We will make your life hell. You already are, dumbass. Lorca's eyes flashed. She turned and left, pushing through the wooden door with its cowbell. Isaac stared at Vincent and Axel as if they were dumb. You two can leave and never come back. You are weak, and you are cowards, and you are liars. Fuck it, said Vincent, and they left through the back door into the parking lot, vowing revenge on the American bitch. Lorca was holding the knife as she stomped up the street, ignoring the alarmed looks of strangers. She felt like exploding. Her boyfriend, Nils, had arrived. Dressed in jeans and a leather jacket over a blue sweater, he was standing in front of the shop, smoking, waiting. Where have you been? You are okay, said Nils. He tried to embrace her, but she pushed him away. Lorca let out a shrill scream. Motherfucking Hell's Angels trying to close us down, wanting us to pay them. Goddamn bastards. Her arms dangled at her sides. Nils had heard the story from Jurgen and Fyodor. You must calm down. Calm down? She pushed into the shop. She had left her client waiting. She apologized to him, washed her hands, and went straight back to the ink. Inside, Nils just watched her, giving her space. He knew very little about the Hells Angels other than they sometimes killed people. He knew that Lorca had a temper, but this was something to behold. The tattoo guns buzzed in harmony. The phone rang, and he answered. Isaac sat in his office wondering what to do, and he had an idea. He downed a shot of Jack Daniels and leaned back in his chair. This American bitch was a power to be reckoned with. He admired tattoo artists, especially the good ones. There was only one guy among his pack of 6 that he would let tattoo him. The others were just mediocre. He trotted down the stairs wearing his Swedish army boots and pushed through the door into the parking lot. Vincent and Axel were gone, so that was good. Standing beside a shed that held a large barbecue grill, about a dozen of his brothers mingled, a radio blasting Norwegian death metal. They all looked his way. A few coughed, but with smiles all around. Isaac knew that the short guy named Guts was looking to have a death head tattooed on his chest, but that he couldn't afford it. That was one thing about the Hog Himmel, no free tattoos, although associates received a 10% discount. The small crowd parted into a semicircle, greeting him. Isaac made small talk, telling them about Vincent and Axel, to keep their eyes peeled for a while. They thought he was through, but then he addressed Guts. Guts, my man, you want a free tattoo? Isaac lit a cigarillo. He towered over them. Guts bugged his big brown eyes and swooped back his long blonde hair. Free? Yeah, free. You have to have some balls. Do you have some balls? Guts looked puzzled. Yeah, they're pretty big. They float in the bathtub. The crowd laughed nervously. There's a new shop 3 blocks away called 2 Doors Down. It's run by a charming woman from America. Please get an appointment with her for the death head. When she's through, you spit on the floor and walk out. Free tattoo. Isaac laughed. Do your balls say yes? She'll call the cops, said Guts. No, she won't. She's her own force. Just make sure before you leave that you say the Hells Angels thank you. But do not wear your colors so that she may not guess. Guts rubbed his hard belly and looked around. Yeah, no problem. But what if she sucks and I get bad ink? Oh, a little bird has told me she is very good and fast, said Nils. So when, said Guts. Make an appointment as soon as possible and tell her your real name. She may know something if you tell her. Guts. Nils took a big drag on his cigarillo and turned back. The following Saturday was busy as usual at 2 doors down. Nils had brought a small .22 pistol for Lorca to keep at her station. Saturdays had a few appointments, mostly just walk-ins, which were plentiful. Lorca was halfway into a tattoo of a rainbow snake on a guy's bicep when she noticed a short guy with long hair enter. From 30 feet away, she could tell he had been drinking. Both Jurgen and Fyodor were with clients. 2 walk-ins sat on the couches. Nils was behind the counter reading an old crime magazine. "How can I help you?" "Yeah, I have an appointment at 3, said Guts. He wore clean jeans and an AC/DC long-sleeve shirt under a ragged wool blazer. "Name?" "Yeah, Dietrich." Guts adjusted his black ball cap. Nils glanced toward Lorca, who was busy, hunched over. He walked that way and asked when she would be done, that her 3 o'clock was there. She told him 30 minutes. Nils told Guts, and Guts settled on the couch, looking through a display book of tattoos, which were pretty good. 40 minutes passed, and Guts was relieved to see that Lorca's client was getting taped up. He had been playing asteroids on his cell phone. He had an old lady named Charlotte that he shared with another associate. Lorca washed her hands, cleaned her station, and prepped for the next tattoo. She gave the sign to Nils, and he told Guts she was ready for him. Another client, a tourist, walked in. "So I'm Lorca, and you want a death's head," she sized up Guts. "Yeah, on my right breast. You look hairy. We'll have to shave you. How big is the tat?" She reached and held up a paper with a generic death head on it. "This big?" "Yeah, that looks about right. You're not one of them Hell's Angels, are you?" Guts laughed. "Oh, no. I drive a Volkswagen Beetle." "Good. Go ahead and lay down with your shirt off." Lorca excused herself to make the stencil and returned to shave his chest. After the stencil transferred, she let it dry for 10 minutes. She only needed it for the broad outline. She would get creative with the fire and blood, maybe with snakes coming out of the eye sockets. She turned up the music a bit, the Sex Pistols. Ready, Lorca hit the gun and began to outline the skull. "You okay?" "Yeah, fine. I'm not a baby." His English was slow and accented. He stared at her from the corners of his eyes and imagined she was the tight fuck. He grinned to himself, imagining the look on her face when he walked out the door without paying. "So, what do you do for a living?" said Lorca. She was laser-focused on the needle, wiping away excess ink with a soft paper cloth and coconut oil. "I drink beer and chase women," said Guts. He looked serious. Lorca frowned. "What I'm getting at is, how do you plan to pay for this damn tattoo? You're looking at 4 hours. Guts coughed. "I deliver magazines to the stores." "Does that even pay?" "Oh, you would be surprised." Guts fidgeted. He didn't like being cross-examined by a woman. Lorca continued outlining in black, taking her time. She could already see the finished product, and it would definitely rock. "Where'd you get these other tattoos? That's a nice sleeve you have there." In Copenhagen, a place there." "What place?" "I know people there." She was working on the skull's chin. "Oh, some back alley shop, out of business." "Okay," said Lorca. She liked to talk while she worked or listened to stories. "Tell me a story. Brighten my day." "Really?" "Yeah." Guts rolled his eyes. "Well, I went last week to a concert in town. Have you heard of Thigpen, a heavy metal screamer?" "Yeah, I heard he's crazy." Lorca paused and bent her wrist. "Well, the motherfucker did one song, I Want to Be Your Dog, and then went crazy talking about the Nazis." Yeah, I noticed the small swastika in your sleeve. So was he preaching to the choir? Lorca kept a straight face. She glanced over at Fyodor and then beyond to Jurgen and then to Niels, who was reading behind the counter, elbows to knees. What does it mean, preaching to the choir? Said Guts. He liked the feel of her forearm against his chest. The heat. Lorca laughed. Sorry, like he was a Nazi and people in the crowd were Nazis too. Maybe, said Guts. Anyway, this Thigpen guy got completely naked on stage, ranting and raving. There was a big squeeze bottle of ketchup. He held up a packet of French fries. Then he squeezed the ketchup into his ass and shitted on the fries, and then he ate the fries. That's when the police stopped the show. Crazy motherfucker. He was grinning. Gross, said Lorca. That's quite a story. And then a period of silence set in, the hum of 3 tattoo guns flavoring the air. With the stencil lines done, Lorca shifted to a shading needle around number 7. She told Guts about her farm, how it was fucking huge, and that there was a barn and a pond. Time measured itself slowly but steadily as the death's head took shape. She stayed true to her vision and had a viper coming from each eye socket, a knife into the side of the skull with blood spurting, and a wide open mouth of grinning bone with silver teeth. Occasionally she wiped the surface of the skin clean to get a better look. As she predicted, it took nearly 4 hours, but the tat looked killer, ass killer. Guts was a little woozy when he stood and had to piss like a racehorse. Lorca walked him to the mirror on the back wall fringed in velvet rope and had him take a look. The skin was reddened around the edges of the skull. Guts just stared. He couldn't believe it. The death head was the best he'd ever seen, and from some American bitch. He touched it. He felt slightly empty, and against his wishes, he said, "Thank you. What can I say?" He couldn't wait to show it off to the other guys, especially Isaac. "So, dumbass, do you like it or not?" "Oh, well, it's fantastic, so real, and the colors." At that, Lorca smiled and taped a film of plastic across the new ink. "Let's walk to the counter. I need your hard-earned money." Like a bowling ball to the head pin, he followed, unsure of what he should do. This changed everything. Niels looked up, still reading. "How many hours?" "It was 4, but we'll call it 3.5. She turned to Guts. "He'll take care of you." She opened her arms for a hug. Guts didn't know what to do, so he gave her a top hug. "So, 5,200 kroner," said Nils. Guts started to turn and leave, but he couldn't. Not when Lorca had put her soul into it. His hand shaking, he retrieved his chained wallet and produced a credit card, hoping it would work. "Add a tip," said Nils. "Oh, right, yeah, sure, 200 kroner. Nobody tipped at the Hog Himmel. He left and found his Harley parked down the street. He wanted to rip off the bandage in his shirt for everyone to see. Back in the shop, Lorca tidied up her station, getting ready for the next one, expecting to work past midnight. Guts pulled around back into the gravel lot of the Hog Himmel, wondering what he was going to say to Isaac. Isaac would laugh at him, maybe sock him in the face for being such a pussy. He peeked down his shirt at the plastic bandage over his new pride and joy, death head. He passed through the back room where some associates and a hang-around were taking shots of Jaeger. He mumbled his acknowledgments passing through, dying to show them the tattoo. Going up the stairs, he smelled a cigar and knew that Isaac was in. His stomach trembled. Hell, they might throw him out. He paused at Isaac's door and knocked. Isaac was looking at maps, making his X's for new fun money targets. "Hey, bro," said Isaac. "Got the ink. She didn't stab you?" He laughed and stood towering over Guts. He touched his mustache. Show me the shit. Oh yeah, show you, sure. Guts took off his jacket and his shirt. Without thinking, he peeled away the tape and the plastic, looking at his boots. The fuck, said Isaac. What? Guts' knees were shaking. That's some cool shit. Wow. Damn, I feel bad she didn't get paid. Holy cow. He slapped Guts on the back. Drop that plastic in the can. Guts did as he was told. But really, what did she say? She had to be pissed. Did she call the fucking polizei? I paid her. I had to. He was melting. Sorry, boss. Isaac stared at him and then at the death head. Well, fuck, that was an order. Yeah, but... Isaac laughed. Hey, you know, I understand. You had no idea she was so capable. Damn, that's art. He went back to his map. There's a new liquor store in the red zone. That's your next assignment. Guts went from dead to alive. Really, I thought you would be pissed. Hell no, in fact, make an appointment for me. I need some touch-up. I can't let the pigs working here get their hands on me. Back at the shop, Lorca took a short break to examine the 22 Niels had brought. The next Hell's Angel that walked through the door, she would gut like a pig and shoot in the face. Niels laughed, and Lorca punched him in the chest. So Lorca overcomes through her talent, through her tattoo talent.